YouTube family, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're returning and if it's your very first time to be here, karibu sana sana. I love to have you here. It means my channel is growing, but it is only growing if you consider to subscribe. So kindly click on the bell on the bell and on the subscribe button so that anytime we post content, you'll be among the first people to be notified. Well, today again I have an amazing guest here with me. She's a sister, she's a friend, and she is a mother. She is a life coach. So today you need to be so ready to learn so much from this amazing lady. Thank you so much for agreeing to come here today and share with us your experiences and your stories, even as you raise these amazing children. You are a mom of 4 and you're just looking so amazing. Guys, I know you can't tell, but she's a mother of 4 kids, 4 amazing children, and she's managed to raise these kids. She's also a life coach. Just introduce yourself and just go straight in and tell us how you've been able to manage this.
Thank you so much, Mercy, for having me. I appreciate. I'm always delighted when it comes to anything to do with your channel. You know, I'm one of your fans.
Yes, thank
Maybe
you.
I could call myself a #1 fan.
Thank you.
So my name is Abigail. I call myself Blessed Abby, and I always say that is the name I adopted to remind myself every day that I am blessed. So I am a mother, like you said, a mother of 4, and a wife, a life coach. That's what I do every day for a living. Yes.
And you know, you're doing all these things and you're doing them so well. And we've been having a series and we've been discussing every step of just pregnancy throughout to when you leave the hospital and you're home with your baby. I would love to know how it was for you when you left the hospital and you're here raising your children. You can use an example of any of the 4 of your kids, just to share with us how your experience has been. And at least I know that you have been doing this when your husband is away sometimes from home for work. You can also tell us about that and how you managed to raise these kids at that point.
Wow, it's actually great reliving that story because I would say the stories differ with all the children because my firstborn, who is 12 now, my secondborn is 10, my thirdborn, actually my firstborn is almost 12. It'll be 12 in September, so he wants us to say he's 12. So he's 11 and my daughter is 10, and my other son is 4, heading to 5, and then our last one is 2 years, around 5 months. So they all have different stories. So I would say the stories are unique, and all of them come with something new to learn, something new to adjust. So I would say with my firstborn, you mentioned, and it's true, most of the times when I've had my babies, my husband has been away. His nature of work is one that demands him to travel a lot. So most of the time, I would find myself being alone. And I would say it's not easy, but it's doable. So for our firstborn, it's interesting. When we were together actually that whole year of pregnancy, but then that night, I remember when I was on labor, my husband had exams the following day. So my labor starts at around 8 in the evening, and I'm thinking, if I go tell him, that was a very important exam for him, very important. So I think if I go tell him, I will tamper with this. I also want him to get to the next level of his work. So I just, he asked me, Abby, why are you not sleeping? And I just said, okay, I'm keeping you company as you study. He doesn't know I'm actually going through labor.
Wow.
So I go to my room, come back, go to my room. Then he left very early at 4 a.m. And that's the time I got some sleep and slept. And at 5 a.m. Exactly, I wake up and my water breaks.
Wow.
And he's away, so I just wake up and I have to take a very quick shower. And at that point I have contractions, but not very close ones. So my bag is ready. You have spoken about that in your channel. My bag is ready. So I just tell my house help, check, I need you to accompany me to hospital. And so we go, and I'm just praying. I pray that these contractions don't come. And one gets me actually along the way. So I get into hospital, and he joined me, my husband joined me in the evening. When now I had my baby that night. I think the labor was quite prolonged. I had my baby that night at 11 p.m. So for that one, he came back, and I had friends, actually one specific friend who came and was there for me the whole time. Then my second born, that one is just an interesting story because she's the ones we call the oops babies.
Wow.
The one who comes, and my firstborn is 9 months old. My husband has just again left for a job assignment. Then I go to hospital thinking I'm sick, and I'm told, Mama, you're pregnant. And that news almost breaks me. I was so stressed. I'm just wondering, how will I handle this? How will I handle the fact that my firstborn is still breastfeeding, and here now again I'm pregnant? How will I handle this? But then I would tell a mother out there who maybe is going through such, because I know there are several. When it happens, just accept it and move on. Because I got so stressed, and I would say that stress never helped. Because at the end of the day, I want to have this baby. Now later I look at my adorable daughter, and I'm like, thank God for the gift. So again, through that pregnancy, I'm alone. And then my husband comes, how many, like 2 weeks to due date. And then my baby decides I'm not coming. I'm extending. And so my baby prolonged to 42 weeks. I normally say, I think I should have seen the doctor because I don't think it was so healthy to have it prolonged. But my fear for C-section just made me stay. But I think God helps us in our ignorance. So my husband goes, comes back when my daughter is 3 months old.
Wow.
So you can imagine the twins,
Yes.
because they are almost twins now. And that was a challenge. It was hard retaining house helps because they come, look at these two who are both needing attention at the same time. And it was not very easy, but I thank God I managed. But then my third born comes in later. So by that time I'm prepared and everything is okay. So, and then my fourth born also, I think at that time everything was well. So they all have different experiences. Yeah.
And it sounds to me like when you're having the first baby, the challenges are more because you don't know what to expect, you don't know how to do some things, and the only person maybe you have most times is your mother, if she's around, if she's available to give you some counsel and advice, and friends when you are around people. What I'm picking from this whole story and your experiences, even as a first-time mom and as a mom of these 4 children, is you need to be calm during this period. When you are alone or even with other people, so that you are able to manage the situation at that time. Because, I'm listening to you say how you did not even tell your husband because he was going to have exam the next day, so that you don't confuse him or whatever. And I'm realizing that if you are calm, actually you can be able to handle all these things. And I'm imagining how when it is normal labor, when it is labor, and how I've heard about labor, it is very painful. And the fact that you were able to just hold yourself together till the end of the entire process, then really calmness is the thing. Wow. So now this whole process you are going through, and your partner is not there for some of your children. How was it? Since there are people who actually get depression, postpartum depression, did you have this? And if you did, how did you go through?
I would say, I didn't even tell you a juicy part of the story. With my last one, even though my last one, we would say, is the COVID babies. So not so planned. But then what happened is so interesting because that day, the delivery day, the due date day, it's the time, the curfew time, when the whole nation is on, and was it 10 to 6
Yeah.
curfew?
Can't even remember.
So
Yeah.
at around 9, I feel signs of labor. And my husband is not there, and I'm thinking, who do I call now? It's already too late. So I did something that was very funny, something no one should try at home.
Yes.
I just got into the car with my bag, off to hospital. And I didn't even tell my husband because he would be worried.
Yes.
So I get there and call him and tell him I'm in hospital. And he says, in hospital for what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm already on labor. So I go to hospital, and the nurses are looking at me like you're a joker. Actually, the only thing that convinced them is when I told them this is my fourth child.
Wow.
Otherwise, they would not have believed me,
Yes.
because they kept me on the waiting bay for some time, and I would see them look at me and whisper, look at me and whisper.
Wow.
I think that was the most interesting part. But like you've said, being calm and having the victor's mentality really helps, because at that point I knew I had to be strong. I knew I needed to do everything, all I could do to get through this. And your question on depression, I would say for the first baby, no, because most of the time for first babies, we want, we are both expecting this. We are interested, we are happy. So we are in together. My second born, I was stressed because I hadn't planned this pregnancy, but I got over it. Now, my most tricky time was my third born. I don't know why I felt a lot of pressure. I think at that time, my marriage was also having a bit of shake-up. I say this because as a coach I believe in being vulnerable, because people hide things that they go through and it doesn't help them. So I say this for somebody who may need to hear this, because at that point we are here parenting, and my spouse and I are having differences. So and then I was at this point where I'm not able to express myself so well, because one of the things that I had a weakness in that has changed and improved over time is that I didn't know how to speak my mind and just say, this is what I need. And so that worked against me, because I would pile it in, and then maybe I need help, and then I'm not voicing it. So I expect my husband to know, and if he doesn't know, I'm angry. Silently angry inside, expecting him to know. So, and that's the part where, pilots call it autopilot. You're there. At first people work so hard in their marriage, and then they get to a point they expect things to flow, which is a very dangerous point. As a mother, you have to know that you have a responsibility to take care of both yourself, your spouse, both of you, your relationship, and now your baby. Sometimes we get lost in the babies and forget ourselves and forget our relationship. So that took a toll on me. But then I thank God for the grace that took me through, because then my self-awareness was not at its best. So, but then when I had my fourth born, things weren't still so good. I think they were actually really bad. But then that's the time, by God's grace, I have mentioned in my channel that where I share my story, that I joined a group. A friend referred me to a group of coaches, and that's where they started talking about self-awareness, self-love. So that's the point I began knowing there is that side to life. So I started to work consciously on me. And at that point now, for the first time, I invested in myself.
Wow.
I got to on a program. I signed up on 2 programs. One, a healing journey, where I was just guided to heal through my past and learned how it affects my present. And then later on, when my baby was a bit grown, I took a second journey where I also did more of discovery of I am, who Abby is, what Abby likes, what Abby wants. It's very important. I would say the price I paid for that is not even equal to the value I got. So I am very grateful, because now I would say my 4th child from the onset has enjoyed a better mother than the other children. These other children have now enjoyed later, but then this one has enjoyed. So that depression part, yes, it was there, but I also, that's how I tackled it, and that it was very helpful for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, because you're saying that you working on yourself helped your children to enjoy the mother that you had become at that time. Because I know at this time you have other children who've grown, others are going to school, and you still have this young one. You have yourself, and this time is when you're also winding up with I'm imagining at 3 months you're starting to prepare to go back to work. Now you have another pressure. Now you have home, you have a nanny, you have your children, you have yourself, and then you have work. I would love to know how it was like transitioning from maternity leave going to work for you.
I would say for the first 2 children, it was a lot of pressure. I didn't know how to handle these things. Remember, I have just mentioned that at that point is that the place where I don't know how to voice what I want. So one of the things I must appreciate are the house managers, the house helps that we hire. Sometimes we look at them as people who are just passers-by, and sometimes we don't even value what they do. But imagine when they come to our homes, sometimes they don't even have experience with children, and then we leave them with our babies, and we come back and our babies are well. That is such a valuable service, and I really appreciate them for that. So one of the things I learned later on is so now for my 3rd and my 4th child, I was now aware of what I needed to do. I started voicing out what I needed. One of the things I learned is that just the same way I go to work and my boss gives me a job description, I need to give it to my house managers. So I started working on it. I actually have it written. So initially before that, with my 1st and 2nd child, there were a lot of quarrels, a lot of shouting, a lot of anger. So many emotions, mixed emotions in all that. Because now instead of telling my house girl, this is what I expect of you, 1, 2, 3, I would expect her to know. Like I would expect that on weekends, she will know that she needs to, just do the cleaning of under the seats, under the beds. I would think that she needs to use common sense. Now remember, they say common sense is not common to all. So what is common sense to you is not common sense to the other person. So I reached a point and discovered, and this really helped me when I sat and had what they say, a meeting with myself, and told myself, I am the real manager here. This is my helper. So I need to be in control of what happens in my house. So now I would say when a new nanny comes to my house, I have the written job description. This is what we do. We actually classify it on according to the days. This is what we do on Monday, this is what we do on Tuesday, this is what we do on Wednesday. And that has really helped to have more peaceful days. Because then if something goes wrong, we just go back to the description, and you can only refer to it and ask, I noticed that today is Monday and you missed this. So what happened? And then she would go and say, maybe today I was feeling a bit unwell. That's why I didn't do it, but I'm planning to do it on Wednesday.
Yes.
So with that, you don't have quarrels. You agree so easily. So that took a lot of pressure off my shoulders. So that really helped. So it's important to consider doing that for our girls.
Yes.
But then also get involved. Get involved. Don't just leave things to move. Don't expect things to flow without your involvement, because at the end of the day, this is your house. So now, when it comes to going back to work, I'm this person who wants to leave home and leave everything sorted, like all the meals done, the batch cooking, so that we don't have to do so much cooking on every day. So that really helps. But then just going to work and relax, knowing that God is taking care of your baby at home, because my first 2 I was worried, but then later on, as I mature, I then realized that God takes care of these things. I do my best, leave the rest to God. So I would say the hack is just be as organized as you can. Organize your house manager as much as possible, but then the rest just leave to God.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when your home is okay, when your house manager is okay, when you're sure your children are okay, then now when you're at work, you can be able to give your 100%. And if it's not 100%, because maybe some call would come from home and you get distracted and feel it, but at least you know there's food, you know there's order in a certain way. And I know sometimes we have these people and we don't value them, like you just said, we don't value them, yet they are actually taking care of life, which is our children for us. And that is a whole different discussion that we're going to have on house helps, that I would love for you to stay tuned. It is part of this series. Ahead of us, we're going to be having a discussion on how to manage our house helps and everything around house managers. And I hope you're going to learn so much from that, like we are continuing to learn as we go in this series. Well, the other thing I would really love to know, you have spoken a little bit about the state of your mind and how it is very important for you to take care of yourself, and even got to a group where you are learning and you are being taught on how to take care of yourself. And in that way, in that case, then you're okay to come and take care of your children, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. You need to be okay yourself so that your children can be okay. And you are actually saying that the last born has experienced a better mother than that. Speak to these mothers who are watching this video, or people who are desiring to become parents someday, how it is important for them to take care of themselves, what to do, especially you as a life coach. At least share with us a few tips here and there that someone needs to consider so that they are okay to raise their children, and also to make sure that their home are stable, because there's a husband who is also involved.
Yeah, I love that question. What I can say, Mercy, is one, the very first point to begin is when you came into, that is now for couples, ones, because we also are aware that there are single mothers and single fathers. But let me say this first for couples. Do not ignore your marriage in the name of children. That's one mistake we all do. Then we let our marriage run on autopilot, and then now we are just chasing dreams, life, and children. For me, that it's actually one of the reasons I struggled. So, like, one of the mistakes I would say again, when you are a mother, don't pile things. Things that you should do on a weekday, you just pile, and the whole Saturday from morning to evening, you have no time to rest. You have no time for yourself, you have no time for your spouse. So that can really take a toll on you, because when relationships are broken, it's very hard to stay sober. Many people I talk to in my coaching line, when their marriages and their relationships have issues, they are not productive as mothers, they are not productive at work, they are not productive anywhere. So it's very, it is within our power. Let's work towards having healthy marriages and healthy relationships. And I feel that as a mother, you can do that by having time for yourself and for your spouse, so that you have time to talk, and then again speak your mind, just in a respectful way. Say, I really need help here. I feel like I'm breaking down, please help. Don't go on silent treatments, those things that people do. They don't help. I don't think they ever help. But now coming back to you as a mother, I would, just like you said, you cannot you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
That's a very important statement. One of the things I actually heard this morning was somebody that said self-care is not selfish. You got to be full for your cup to be full, so that you share. The others are just getting from the overflow.
Yes.
But if you're feeding yourself, your spouse, and your children from the same cup, you are going to run out. So make sure your cup is full. And how does that happen? Take care of yourself first. I normally say one of the routines I have learned is for each day, plan for it yesterday. Like one of the things I do is before I sleep, I just write down, this is what I'm going to do tomorrow. Now, in that tomorrow, which has 24 hours, schedule some time for you, just for you, for a walk, for reading a book, for anything that you feel is for your self-love. And do it so purposely. Most of the time we feel like we don't have time because we don't plan for the time. So when you plan for it, you will get the time. But when you don't, your day is just disorganized around the house, and you actually feel like you've done so much, yet so little again when you look at everything. So plan for me time. Just have time for yourself, time that you've blocked and say, this is for me. You've actually mentioned that on your channel in a video where you say mothers need to prioritize themselves. It's a very important thing.
Yes.
And then now, after you've done that, also work on yourself, your self-awareness, know who you are. As I've said, for me, it took professional help. Seek help, talk to someone, be vulnerable to someone. Most of the time we talk to people, but just make sure it's the right person. Because if you talk to somebody who will just be a pity party, then that won't help. So what you need is to talk to someone who can really be objective and help you. Not somebody who will just cry together and or give you, solutions that don't last. For me, the professional way gave me solutions that last. So the results are there even to date. And even now, when my husband remarks and says, Abby, you are now even a better wife than you were.
Wow.
That's so interesting.
Yes.
My son himself, who is I said he's 11. You can imagine him telling me at one point at around 9, he told me, Mom, nowadays you're very happy. You look like something has changed in you.
Wow.
You used to have outbursts. You used to shout at us. Imagine what I used to do to these innocent children. But it's because I had things within me that had not healed. If you don't work on healing the wounds, remember, most of us or all of us come from broken pasts, broken homes. You may have come from a good home, but it has its own brokenness. Maybe it's broken financially, maybe emotionally, or in any way. Work on that, because if you don't, the people you love the most will suffer. And it happens to be your spouse, yourself, and your children. They suffer first before anyone else, because out there you try to hide, but in your home you don't hide. So it's very important to put yourself first and just work on yourself, and you will see results, and your family will enjoy a better mother, a better wife. And we all know mothers and wives are centers of the family.
Very true.
Without you being the central strong point, then the family suffers.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, you're just speaking some huge words here, and I believe there's someone out here who is speaking this thing and they're benefiting from it, because you know you are even vulnerable to tell us examples of your own. So these things are things that really happen. These things are things that we encounter. It's not like they're far away. It's not like not human beings go through them. So it is okay when sometimes you feel down. It is okay when sometimes you feel like you have just done so much and you know you just feel like you're so broken. But when you realize that, when you feel that this thing is happening to you, find someone. And she's mentioned that you need to find the right person, not just anyone, not your next door neighbor. Start sharing your stories and all that, and you don't get help. Find the right person, find a coach, find a counselor and share with them. Find a pastor and talk to them and tell them, this is what I'm going through, especially your husband. Let them know what you're going through. Because what I'm learning from you is that when your husband knows, it even becomes easier to go outside, because now then you feel like you have even the permission to go and maybe see a counselor, when especially it has to do with yourself and your children, because now you know he tells you it is okay, let us find help together. Then it makes more sense. My guest today has a YouTube channel where she shares so much about herself and her journey and her experiences. Please go to that channel, subscribe, say you came from Growing with Mercy. Make sure you talk to her on the comment section, and even on the Facebook, on Instagram and on Twitter. She's called Blessed Coach Abby, or Abby's Coaching House.
Abby's Coaching House.
Wow.
You're so much welcome. We will almost prepare a cup of tea for you. A very warm welcome. Just get there and you'll see more of the stories. Yes.
So make sure you go there, keep learning from her channel, come back, keep learning from Growing with Mercy, and there are more guests that are coming here to continue sharing some amazing things that you need to know. So we have finally come to the end of this episode, and I believe you have learned something, a thing or two that you are going to improve yourself on. Like I keep saying, make sure you share with your friends so that you don't keep making mistakes that people made before us, or mothers made before us, so that we can keep becoming better and make this generation better and raise our children in a better way. So before we leave, maybe you have something, a parting shot that you'd love to share with us.
I would say first, thank you for bringing this channel. I would say you may think that you're doing this for first-time mothers, but for me, I'm not a first-time mother, but I learn a lot. When I look there, I see things like when you mention of the shopping list, I'm thinking, I never knew this.
Wow.
So this channel is making life easy for you who is watching. Just take advantage of this channel. It's a very important channel. And then let me say that as a mother, just take care of yourself. And one thing I actually forgot to say is that things that happen in our lives are not the problem. The problem is how we perceive them. So just think about things, how you perceive something, because one thing happens to one person, it causes them to shatter. To one person, it builds them. So our perception really matters. So when something happens to you, like you are having a challenge in your marriage, don't think it's the end of the road. Just seek help, and you will actually find what you're looking for. And so I am very grateful to be here. If you want to reach me for professional help, you can. You're most welcome. And so, but for mothers, seek help. Put yourself first. Pour from a full cup, fill it, and then pour it to yourself and even your family. So thank you so much, Mercy. I appreciate it.
Karibu sana. We truly appreciate. The link to her YouTube channel is going to be down below on the comment section. Please make sure you check her out. If you need to reach her, I'm going to pin the email address that you need to reach her through down below, so that you get all the help that you need to become a better person, a better version of yourself. Thank you so much, Abby, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching this video to the very end. Do not leave this place without subscribing, and share this video widely so that it gets to as many people as it can. Thank you again, and bye.
Bye.